Hello, welcome to Management 111 online, offered by Harper College, Introduction to Business. My name is Dr. George Mochocki. This course is in conjunction with Blackboard Course Management System and McGraw-Hill Connect Learn Smart software. Okay, this week this is going to be just an overview. 5 minutes, maybe 10 the max overview, what's expected from you from this week. Last week we did pretty good with the forums and everything else. There's some concern about how do I track the forums. There's so many forums. Remember, in business, you're going to be receiving close to 75 to 85 emails daily. So look at the forums as an email in a business to prepare you for that. The one way when you go into the forums, what I would do, instead of looking at everyone else's forums, remember, always use the individual's first names. And then when you go into the forums, you could set the settings in a forum that you're only viewing the new posts, not the old posts. It makes life so much easier. And again, I was going to have, not this week, because we've been having the water cool forums and everything else, but maybe next week we could throw in, if anyone knows a different way of doing the forums or how they can manage the forums. It's not that hard. Blackboard also has some YouTubes on there that will help you within the forums, okay? So let's see, what do we have this week? We're going to be covering two chapters, Chapter 4, which is ethics, and Chapter 5, business types. Now, when you're covering these two chapters, Chapter 4, ethics, if you look at within the book, every chapter has some kind of ethical dilemma in there, okay? So read those, and that helps you become a good ethical person, because it makes good sense to be ethically sound and ethically and socially responsible. The other thing is business types. When I'm looking in here, make sure you go into, let's see, let me go in here real quickly. Make sure you go into these two quick YouTubes I have for you. Each one is about 22 minutes specifically just on the chapter. I'm beginning to do this a little bit differently this semester, so you could play back. How I would do it, I would print out my mind maps. I would look at my PowerPoint. My maps, it just shows you the whole overview of everything else. It has the second level, the first or second tier, and then when you look at my lectured PowerPoints, I'm using the mind maps in there, so you could always stop it and say, what does he have in his mind maps? Even though I may be talking, it's visual, and add into it. And then look at the PowerPoints and see, oh, I can see how this all connects. Remember, my conceptual mind maps is something to utilize in business and marketing to see the whole picture. And it makes it easier when you're doing your, pretty soon you'll be, next week I think I'm going to be introducing, you'll be coming up with your research topic, your feasibility topic. So if you want, ahead of time, you can look at what's required for my research paper. But then when you look at the mind map, it gives you an overview on it, okay? So utilize this, and then do the connect homework, and you should be okay. Always, now I'm going to go back to week 3. Okay, so what do you have? Make sure you always are looking, print out this overview. This overview basically tells you everything that we're going to be doing real quickly. A lot of students like to just click on it and write it off. I'm just trying to help you so you end up being very successful within this class, okay? So now, what do we have here? You have the overview. You're going to have one form. I'm going to give you a break instead of having like water cooler form. I'll do that next time. The one form you're going to have, before you do this one form, it's going to look at your corporate preferences and your ethical assessments. I'll have to correct that. So if I'm looking at your ethical assessments, let me correct that real quickly. Edit. If I look at my ethical assessments, just forgot that, and do it over here, and this makes it easier. So when you print out your ethical assessment, what I've already have in here is here. I gotta go in here. Okay, sorry. All right, we're all set to do this now, so this is live. All right, so you know I'm recording this live. So when I print out my ethical assessment, you're going to do two assessments. One's going to be how ethically you would respond to assessment. The other one's the corporate. Look, I have them all set up. Just answer the questions, print them out. You should do pretty good, all right? And the same thing with the ethical ones. It's all set up in here. It's 10 questions. I also provided you with the link, so if you have any kind of, what do you call it, the issues with going through Blackboard or through your smartphone or through your tablet, you could just cut and copy the link and put it into your own browser. A lot of times that'll work out pretty good. Okay, so you have those two. Then you're going to go into the forum, and remember, the forums, you're doing pretty good with the forums. Click into the forums, respond to my questions, and it's going to ask you questions. Would you like to, some of the questions I'm going to ask you, is going to find the preferences. Do you like to work for a corporation or for a smaller company? If you like to work for a corporation, okay, say, hey, I agree with this assessment. Either tell me you agree with the assessment or you don't agree with the assessment. I have about 5, 6 questions, and I have something about ethics. Which one would you utilize? Which one would be more ethical? You don't have to respond to everything else in one post in a form. Do the first one. Here's my ethical assessment, and talk about this. And do another form. Here's my preference, and respond to the 5 questions. Remember, part of the whole form is for you to start learning to communicating in a virtual office, in a virtual environment. So what I'm trying to get you to do is basically start talking to people. How do you talk to other individuals? That's what the forums are. The forums are replacing the lecture. How do I connect to somebody else in business? Remember, in business, it's a little different. Part of your business communication, you're going to run into people, and most of you are in retail or working someplace else, into individuals that you've never met before. And how do I make that connection? So part of business, and another way, a lot of times you'll be talking to people. I was looking at something else on my Verizon. I switched from AT&T to Verizon to change carriers. I'm always going back and forth to make sure I have the right carrier. And how do I know I got the right carrier? I'll try another vendor. And after my contract, if I like it, I may go back. But that's how I am as a consumer. Some people are very brand loyal. So remember, as a business, you have to understand which one. So what kind of corporate preference do you want? So you're going to go back and forth, all right? So make sure what I'm trying to do with the forums is to get you to start communicating with individuals. Anyway, when I was going back into my Verizon, I was looking at, maybe I was going to add a tablet, my tablet, into my Verizon so I could go anywhere. But right at the minute I looked for adding for something, boom, I got a little pop-up saying, hey, do you want us to help you with the tablet? We could provide this for you if you would like. Okay, so what's going on? So I've got instant online communication. I'm not talking I could talk to the person through a Skype through the way I'm set up, but I could also talk to the person. She'd be emailing me or virtual contact like you would be doing on Facebook or something else. The thing I want you to remember in the forums, always the first name. This is a professional. As you'll be writing within business, how do I respond to individual? Okay, so you got the 2 forums. You've got today, instead of having, what do you call it, for lack of better words, instead of me giving you 2 quizzes and 2 connect assignments, I'm going to just give you one. If I look at the Learn Smart, because I put them together, you're just going to have a connect homework on on chapter 4. And that's wrong. You're just going to have a connect homework on chapter 5, and you're going to have a quiz on chapter 4. Okay, so we'll correct this later on. Does that kind of make a sense? So when you go back in here for your homework, you're just going to have one connect homework, and the one you're going to be doing is going to be on chapter 5, and it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be on a presentation. It's not going to be the normal connect like you've seen before. And now on your quiz, you're only going to. I'm not going to do a connect or anything on the quiz for chapter 4. But what you will have is going to have a quiz. It's going to be 15 questions, and this one is, remember, it's a Blackboard quiz to get you prepared for when we're taking the final exam. So I'm going to go back, since I'm not doing 2 connect, and each connect is worth 10 points. Since I'm not doing 2 connects, but 1 connect, so the connect in chapter 5 is going to be worth 20 points, and the quiz, since I'm not doing 2 quizzes, but 1 quiz is going to be only on chapter 4 on ethics, and that's going to be 15 questions worth 1.34% per question. Okay, so that should take care of you pretty good on that. So we should be pretty good for this whole week. Remember, you're doing well. Hang on in there. I know a lot of you are going, there's a lot of work. My head is spinning. Remember, you're getting the same credit as you would if you'd be taking this in a face-to-face class. You're getting the same knowledge, you're getting the same learning. If anything else, I think you're learning more in this virtual environment, because this is how you have to deal in business. You already know how to communicate, but now you have to communicate in a written kind of a style. And if I'm looking at the quizzes, the connect homework, and going back and forth in forums, remember, when we're looking at ethics, there's a program that was aired last time, and I'll put it on here for those who want to see, taking a grade. A lot of times there are some concerns that some students online may be cheating by having their parents or somebody else doing their homework. I'm not saying this is the case. So what I do, basically, I change it so much where if someone's cheating, they're really learning. I don't really care. Someone's going to be learning. It's not like you could take this and just say I'm going to do a couple of quizzes and I'm done. This class is very interactive. Going forward, remember a lot of things later on. You're going to have your face, and then a lot of things when we're going to do a communication. Because with the new Blackboard, we will be doing live talking to each other. So then I will actually know who the person is on the other side. All right. So I brought this all up because it's under the overview. You're all doing well. Hang in there. Remember, this is like a smorgasbord class. There's a lot of information. I'm trying to make this where you could still learn it and get a basic baseline understanding business as a whole. Start thinking about what kind of business feasibility study you're going to be looking at. So look into this one here. It says, where the heck I have it in here, feasibility paper. You click on here. I have some short YouTubes and everything else. What's required on the paper? What's in? You're not going to be doing a PowerPoint. Not in this class. You may. I'll still think about it. I may. I think because it's a 16-week class. But anyway, here's some sections, what's required in the paper, what's in there, and what you basically could do if you're working for a business or you have your own business or you have an idea and a concept. Before you do a full business plan, you're going to have to come up with some kind of idea. So you're just going to see, does it make sense? Where am I going to open up? Who are my customers? Is there a need for my product? How much should I charge? How many competitors are there? Could I compete with my competitors? Okay? So remember, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and this is an overview for week 3. And this week we have a lot of stuff. We're covering chapter on ethics. I talked a lot about, but now chapter 5. And again, when you look at the lecture, it's very important because it's how I limit my risk, and the different kind of structures depends what kind of how my vendors will interact with me. It depends how my financial partners will react with me, how much finance they'll give me. Depends on the type of a structure I have. All right. So again, I enjoyed talking to you in the forums. You're doing very well in the forums. The posts are excellent. Remember, the forums end at noon midnight. The Connect homeworks and the McGraw or the quizzes and everything else is at Sunday midnight. It turns off and we start again, and then you're going forward. Once it's done, it's closed off. When we start doing the your feasibility paper and having discussions on there, once the forms are turned off, unless something's in there, you could access it, but it's harder to access. I would cut and copy what I want if I'm going to be utilizing it for my feasibility research paper. Okay, but anyway, enjoy talking to you. You're a great class, and I'll see you within the forum very shortly. Have a nice day. My name is Dr. George Mochocki. This is Management 111, week 3 in a 16-week course covering chapters 4 and 5. Bye.